All right, welcome back to another episode of the Pin High podcast presented by Pin High Media. This week we're going to talk about Scottie Scheffler's first win at what could have been the wildest waste management open we've ever seen. And we're going to, for some of us, we liked it. Some people didn't. So we'll talk all about that. We'll bring back who's hot and who's not this week. And we'll make some picks for the Genesis Invitational. So let's get into it.
This is Jordan Spieth here, and
this is the Pin High podcast.
Let's get inside the ropes. Scottie Scheffler finally broke through to win the Waste Management Phoenix Open this week. How many holes of a playoff was it with Cantley? I was a little bit playoff. Yeah, I was in between all of this with the Super Bowl starting, and I was like on my way to Super Bowl party, so we had Cheek updating the playoff for us. But yeah, it's good to see Scottie finally break through. I feel like he's been on the cusp so many times.
Yeah, and like this one kind of snuck up on me a little bit. I didn't really think that Scottie Scheffler had a chance when we were going down the final three holes. I'm like, oh, it's between Cantlay and like Theegala, and then just Xander Schauffele has like an outside chance. And like Scottie Scheffler kind of snuck up on me. I didn't realize he was that close to tying, and I didn't think that he was gonna like actually have a chance to win, and he did. So good for him. I guess if there's a way that Scottie Scheffler is gonna win, because obviously he's been knocking on the door for much of his career so far, I think this was probably the way he was gonna win. He was gonna sneak up and then kind of just take it.
Absolutely. I think it was like you said, it was kind of unexpected to see him in that spot. Like, you realize walking down 17, he's like, he can win this thing. He makes he birdies 18. He should have birdied 18. He should have made that putt. Obviously Cantlay should have made his putt, and Xander should have made his putt to go into a playoff, which don't even get me started on him. But it was, like you said, it was kind of cool to see him get his first win. He was the cut was 2 under par, and he was at 3 under par at the start of the weekend. And then he shoots like 60. He shot 29 the back on his first 9 holes on Saturday.
62 on Saturday, right?
62 on Saturday, yeah. And then gets in the final group and wins. That's Spieth did like a similar thing the week before. He was that far back. It seemed like 11 shots back at the start of the weekend, and he somehow came back and almost won. I don't know. It's just impressive to think about.
Yeah, it's also like you said, Xander Schauffele. It's also a little frustrating for a couple guys to not really finish there, because it was Theegala not finishing after kind of leading a lot of the way, pretty much almost wire to wire. I know he wasn't first round.
KH Lee ended up being first round leader because Theegala bogeyed his last 2 holes Friday morning.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying, because that was kind of the difference in the tournament. I think Theegala was able to finish his round on Thursday. I don't think he would have bogeyed both those holes.
No, I don't think he would.
So and then obviously waking up in the morning having to play 17 and 18 as your 1 and 2 for the day. He ended up bogeying both those holes and then started off birdie on his round 2 scorecard. So I didn't think it was going to come down to that, but what did he end up missing out in the playoff by? 1 stroke. So he had just went par on those 2 holes to end his first round.
And then Trevor's guy Xander, just
I can't.
Trevor can't catch a break with Xander, and he can't catch a break with Skins, because what are you down so far in 2022?
17.15
units.
And I had
is a winner.
I had Xander to win.
Thank God you don't take these.
I had Xander to win. KH Lee was first round leader and lost to Glover by 1. He was 3 over par the rest of the week. Xander, Berger, and Brooks all top 10. Berger missed the cut. Xander and Brooks were top 10. I was that close to a huge week. But Yeah, Xander, I'm honestly convinced Xander will never win. Like he just like I realized like after watching him compete in these so many times that he just doesn't have it when he's like in like a pressure situation. Like obviously he won the Olympics, but he like this ended up being like a big like a lot of big names, tight leaderboard. Like this tournament, I feel like means more and more every year, which we can talk about more obviously too. But he's not making putts. I feel like he's a good putter, but there's so many putts where he just lacks conviction and he's just not even getting like halfway to the hole. It seems like he's got to figure something out and come alive and make like one big putt in one of these tournaments to change his narrative, I guess.
Yeah. And you mentioned how big this tournament became, not only just because of the leaderboard, but also just because of the hype that it was getting around not only the golf world, but also just like mainstream media. So we can talk about a few of those things and move into winners and losers for this week.
Yeah. So winners and losers. I mean, just to kind of piggyback off of what Pat was saying, I guess our first winner of the week is beer and the game of golf as well, in parentheses. I mean, like it or not, the WM Open drew a lot of attention this week, even with the Super Bowl going on. I mean, I know the Super Bowl is hard to compete with. I mean, we had hole-in-ones, beer showers on 16. Like it was just like kind of a spectacle for golf and something that you don't normally see for golf. I mean, I'd like to get your thoughts on the, throwing beers on the 16th.
Yeah. So I loved it for the first hole-in-one with Sam Ryder, and I thought it was it was something we've never seen before. Like that's just like not only just that, but just something even like that happening is something we've never seen before in the game of golf. And then we see it happen again with Carlos Ortiz, and it was so cool then too, because at that point it's like, oh, is this just a thing now? And then when it happened for Justin Thomas, it was kind of like, okay, he chipped in from off the green. Like that's not worthy of that.
Right.
Obviously, it's the Waste Management Open, and I think it kind of goes, I guess, now. I mean, I think that's going to be really interesting to see what happens during the 2023 one, just because like it's set a new precedent pretty much for like what is acceptable, because like let all that fly. And then you can't mention it without mentioning Joel Damon and Harry Higgs also just doing something we have never, maybe won't ever see again. I don't know if the PGA Tour is going to be.
That was the funniest thing. Like the beer on the hole-in-one was just like an awesome moment, and like the second one was like very cool too. We had seen it before, so I guess to a certain extent it wasn't as like awesome. But the Joel Damon and Harry Higgs, that made me that moment made me laugh out loud. Like just watch every single time I've watched it. It's like Harry Higgs just pulls his shirt up, and then it cuts away, and then there's Damon just whipping it like a rally towel. And that's like that. I understood them throwing beer for, I guess, a little more. Obviously the JT thing is a little
overdone.
Like come on, like you he chipped in, it's cool, but there's gotta be a certain line to throwing beer on the golf course. Hole-in-ones, chuck all the beer in the world, like that's the coolest thing ever. But like I feel like there's a line as to what you can do. I'm still like it's not like I'm not like mad about it, but it's just like I feel like a lot of people have the same opinion on that.
Right. I mean, that did bring us into our second winner of the week, because our second winner of the week is Harry Higgs and Joel Damon's chances for the PIP. I mean, just to kind of recap that, because you didn't really like fully explain it. Joel Damon got his like tee time notification that he was teeing up with Harry Higgs for round 4, and he tweets, "Dreams do come true. If we get enough retweets, Harry Higgs will take his shirt off on 16 tomorrow." And like people were like, "Oh, like that's not actually going to happen." But like, sure enough, Harry Higgs makes this like pretty long putt too, like 15-foot putt. And then lifts his shirt up, and then chaos kind of happens. Joel Damon takes his shirt off. He's like swinging it around, which is like just something you don't see in the game of golf. Like imagine if this happened at like Augusta, like Harry Higgs and Joe Damon would be like arrested, maybe like green jackets would come out.
It'd be like the Chinese thing. We'd probably never see them again if it did that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so the tarps off of 16 did go viral. We'll see what happens. I mean, Joe Damon kind of was feeling it, I guess. After the round, he shot his shot on Twitter. He said he asked Rory to be his partner for the Zurich Classic, even though Rory doesn't play in the Zurich Classic. And he said he'd even promised to keep his shirt on. So Joe Damon's kind of feeling it. Maybe had one too many at that point. But
we also talk about how awesome just the tournament in general was. Like not just because of the beer. Like people, this is like talk about like people like talking about growing the game. Like this is a like way to grow the game. Like grant, like it's like not the conventional way, maybe not the way the PGA Tour wants to, but like kids, college kids college kids don't play or think about much golf that much, and they're seeing just beer being chucked on the golf course after a hole in one. These guys taking their shirts off, like that's like people get into the game and watch the game of golf.
I mean, I will say the PGA Tour like didn't seem to have a problem with it. They were posting it like all over their social and everything. So like there was that. I mean, my only take on the whole beer thing is like I'm fine with you like throwing beer up in the air and like splashing beer all over the place. I don't think you should really be throwing projectiles onto the green. Like, you know, like the first time was cool because like it was kind of like an out of like, you know, just kind of out of that moment they started throwing beers on the green, and that was just kind of like a thing. I think the second time, which I think the JT chip happened before Carlos Ortiz, so that time definitely shouldn't have done anything.
Oh, it happened before Carlos Ortiz?
No, I think it was after. I think it was after.
Maybe it was after. I don't know.
Because JT was like, he was kind of like, he made a run, but like I think he was later on the day than Carlos Ortiz was.
But yeah, I mean, when Carlos Ortiz did it, I get it, but like you could see like people were kind of taking cover, like they didn't want to get like nailed with like a full beer. I just think you shouldn't be allowed to throw projectiles onto the course, but
I don't know how you
throw
stop
beer up in the air.
Yeah,
and you can't really.
I don't think you're going to stop them
unless you come to Phoenix next year and there's netting like all around the thing, which would suck.
No, they wouldn't do that.
That would happen.
They would like. I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking like something like that, like one that would cost just X amount of more money just to put up in the stadium on those like all around that one hole. And then two, like I thought like, oh, maybe if they do like plastic cups, but then they cost X amount more to have the plastic cups there instead of the
it's like all about
cans.
Sustainability too.
Yeah,
WM. They don't even go by waste management anymore because they don't want waste in their name. So
yeah, but it's the whole.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they just changed their brand to WM.
Oh.
I noticed that this week, but I mean, like I said, all in all, the tournament itself was phenomenal. Like all these big names, like this is like the crowd almost like it felt like it was almost I haven't watched this much golf this weekend than I had. I mean, Century is like obviously the start of the year, and haven't watched golf in a long time before that. But like this is one of those tournaments that I feel like I would want to tune into. Like I wanted to tune into every single day, especially on Saturday and Sunday before the Super Bowl. It was like this stretch of, I feel like Torrey, this Riviera, even you can even include Century in that. Like that's like Riviera this week is a loaded field.
We're gonna see a lot of the same
in the world.
The fans, but we're going to see the same. I think we're going to see an insanely stacked leaderboard.
Yeah, I completely agree. I saw something where the strength of the field this week is higher than the 2020 Masters, something like that. Like this is like
Masters never have like.
No, it doesn't. It's not like a US Open.
But
yeah, but like a higher strength field for like a regular tournament than a major. Like it's going to be a crazy, crazy week. An awesome golf course. Tiger will be there. So,
right. I mean, so let's get into our last winner of the week. Saif Theegala. I think his stock went up this week. He may have not won, but you know what? He's playing on a sponsorship exemption. The way he just handled himself this week, like I think he made a lot of fans this week. I think a lot of people were rooting for him. I mean, to think he's 24 years old and he's like hyping up the crowd, like he's very, very into the event. Like he may not have won, but he's very talented. Like you could see, like he might stick around. He might just be one of those guys that takes this tournament and kind of starts to run with it. I was pretty impressed by him this week.
Yeah.
How
No,
awesome was it to see him pumping up the crowd on 16 when he's like in a final group with Brooks and Scheffler, and he's taking the time to pump up the crowd. He's wearing a jersey. Was he wearing a jersey on Sunday? I don't remember. I think so. He wasn't. He was on Saturday for sure.
Yeah, he wore the Pepperdine jersey on the green. I mean, he kind of caught a bad break. I think on 17, he didn't really hit a bad shot. He hit like a pretty okay shot, like a nice little cut in there, and it took a wicked bounce, and maybe a little adrenaline hit it a little bit further than he wanted it to, and it was cutting.
It was cutting, and it bounced left. Like
it was a weird. Left. It took a wicked bounce and went into the water, and that kind of ended his tournament. But I mean, you got to go for it, right? So I respect it. And up until that point, it looked like he had a very good chance of winning, and especially against somebody like Patrick Cantlay, who was, looking to be the number one in the world at this point. Finished top 10 in all of his events this season.
Patrick Cantlay is crazy right now.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
And I think one last thing on Tagala, seeing like his whole family being there, like he's living at his parents' house. He's drove like 6 hours to the tournament, like in like his like high school car or something like that. Someone said that. Just the whole story. The story is awesome. I mean, like there are points where I felt like he was kind of like losing it. Like on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, he doubled the second hole, and then I thought like, okay, he's kind of done. But then he kind of putted well. Kind of like he like just unleashes at the ball every single time he hits it. And the way he stuck around like that whole weekend with like Cantlay, Xander, Brooks, Scheffler, like that's impressive, and that's hopefully we'll see more of that. I was listening to Nolane Up's recap of it today, and they were talking about this quote from a Golf Digest article, I think it was, or maybe it was golf.com. But they said how the guy would just like purposely on the range like hit like terrible shots.
Right.
Like I don't know why. Like he would hit like slices, tops, chunks, like all this kind of stuff. And then apparently one time he was in the range and Rahm was right next to him, and he looked over his teammates and said, "Watch this," and he purposefully shanked it like directly to his like 90 degrees to his right, and like got like and like pretend like it was like embarrassing. He didn't mean to do that or anything like that. And like it just. He seems like he's like a fun guy, kind of just like carefree guy. Obviously, who's like emotional after this week, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him.
We should hit the DMs. I want this story from him, and I want to. I want to
hear that too.
No laying up to it, but
I'll find it as well.
Yeah, that was that I was going to mention that as well. That he like does that, which is kind of funny, like purposely shanking to make other people think like he's having a tough time, and then he just goes out there and stripes the ball. I mean, he does play a little bit like Jordan Spieth in a way. Like he had a point in his round where he just like wasn't hitting fairways, but he was scrambling so well that didn't really make a difference.
Yeah, like I feel like every single time I saw him, he was hitting like he was like in the desert or like in the rough. Like he wasn't in good spots, but he would stick it putting. Yeah, he was putting great. His irons are very good. Like it just seemed like he was like not playing well and like kind of scrambling, but somehow also still keeping up with these guys. Like it was crazy. It was kind of wild to like even process like, wow, this guy's still in it. Like usually like I wouldn't have expected that at all.
Yeah. So we want to get into some losers now.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Yeah. So I saw this on Twitter or Instagram. I forget where he went on the rant, but Charlie Hoffman.
Yeah.
It was exactly like Phil last week, just kind of embarrassed himself on social media, blaming the PGA Tour for, a lack of protection after a ruling. what was the exact ruling again, Jeek? It was something about
So
a hazard,
he went to make he went to make a drop, like, for on a hazard, whatever. He made a drop, and like he would have his drop. Um, Made his drop once, made it twice, didn't work, and then like placed it, and then he went back to get like a club, and the ball ended up moving and rolling like into the water again, and he ended up having to take another stroke, which is a terrible roll. I understand it, but like the rant that he went on saying how like the PGA Tour gives a lack of protection, saying how like rulings because of this are the reason why people are trying to leave the tour, and like that kind of missed the mark almost completely. And it kind of like Phil last week, just kind of made a fool out of himself. And he also finished dead last for players who made the cut. So didn't really go well for him.
It was funny that that Saturday morning, or the what day did the ruling happen on?
I think Friday or Friday. Friday.
He said yeah, whatever day it was, the next day, his first two holes, there was like he had to take a penalty strokes like on drops. It was like the whole post is, he deleted the posts. He apologized the next day about it, then deleted the post. There's a picture of him with like a waste management like truck, like something like that. Like it was, the whole thing was just like, and you say he was trying to gain leverage, like this whole, the whole Saudi thing, and I don't know. There's just it seems like there's just more and more like smoke, or I don't know what to call it at this point, but
players seem to want to like voice their frustrations all of a sudden.
Yeah. Getting too much power. Need a lockout.
And then another loser I had here, players' ability to close. So I mean, there was 3 people who really had a chance to win this event. Obviously, Xander, we mentioned it earlier. We mentioned Cantlay couldn't really make his putt. Scheffler didn't make his putt on 18 as well. Theegala was there down the stretch, and obviously on 17, like hit it in the water. Like no one really wanted to close this event. We have 3 holes, a 3-hole playoff, 30 minutes into the Super Bowl. That's not really good for the sport, because a lot of people will be watching this and then go right into the Super Bowl. You have like usually like a half an hour buffer or whatever, but because of this playoff, like they ended up going into the Super Bowl, and I'm sure the ratings went from really high to really low very quickly. And like a lot of people probably didn't watch the playoff.
I wasn't able to, because I had like plans like to go to a Super Bowl party, and like obviously nobody at the Super Bowl party like wanted to watch
it's like, can somebody please make a putt? And just no one wanted to do it, and until finally Scheffler was able to make one.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was such a good tournament.
It was
really the only negative.
And like that, it was annoying. But next year we have this tournament. It's in Scottsdale, the Super Bowl in Glensdale, Arizona. So both in the same area. Maybe they'll stagger it a little bit next year, and we'll have this go right into the Super Bowl.
Right.
And then our last loser, put it down here, Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, the rumors keep spreading about him. He hasn't played in a couple of weeks. I think he's been hurt, but the rumor was that he was going to get paid to play in the Saudi League, like a lot of money. Even No Laying Up tried to like spread a rumor saying that he won't play another PGA Tour event this season, which I think probably isn't right, but who knows what their source is. Bryson denied it, but he's also not in the field again this week. He is the defending champ at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So if he doesn't show up for that, like they could be onto something. And if Bryson doesn't play in any PGA Tour events, like that's the first domino to fall.
I hope I get to see Bryson at the Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, you're going to be there, of course.
I mean, if he doesn't show up to that as the defending champ, then there's something going on.
No, definitely. I saw a report today. I forget who it was that was speaking on behalf of Bryson. But they were saying that that's like completely baseless, like it's false, and that the only reason he's not playing this week at Riviera is because of his injury. Yeah. So, and then I saw something else regarding the Saudi League from Dan Rappaport's Twitter. This was today at noon, pretty much. He said that on the Stripe Show podcast, Kramer Hickok said a lot of big guys are jumping to the Saudi League, and that 17 have already signed on. says huge money, 12 to 14 events, 10 in the US, no cut, 40 players.
Wow.
I feel like this is the first, this is the most detail like we've gotten. Like this is what Dan Rappaport said, and it's straight from a tour player. So
They must have signed like NDAs or something, like the ones who signed on, because no one else is like saying anything.
oh, definitely. And I mean,
Morikawa was there today. On the stand.
Morikawa today was talking about, he's like the narrative that we've kind of been pushing on it all. Morikawa confirmed. He was just like, yeah, I mean, I grew up like idolizing Tiger and the PGA Tour and wanting to like break records on the PGA Tour. I'm pretty much, he's like not going to.
Yeah, but like for somebody like Colin Morikawa has already won 2 majors, one of the most marketable players in the game, like probably has brand deals and stuff. Like he has plenty of money, but for somebody maybe at the level
like Kramer Hickok,
like they
also,
don't have that.
I think 10 of the 14 events are in the US. It's just Saudi backed. So
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it seems inevitable right now.
I honestly, I have no idea what to make of it, just because, like you said, like the Kramer Hickok saying that, like that's like the most, you're right, that's the most like detailed we've heard from it. And then like we hear like the Colin Morikawa saying like I don't know if anyone was going over there. Like it's so like there's I don't even know how to describe it.
Split. Like it just like some people, like everybody has a different thought on it, I feel like, including us. So
yeah, there's like the side that like Kramer Hickok is just saying what he's heard. Then there's like Bryson, who God knows what he's doing. Phil is being good old Phil, like kind of just making remarks without any backing or just hurting his reputation. Charlie Hoffman's calling it the PGA Tour, but then there's guys like Colin Morikawa and a bunch of other pros who are saying, like, I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know if anyone was going over there, and who knows, maybe they've signed an NDA, like maybe they're not saying anything, but I don't know. I literally, I don't know what to make of it. Like I've heard so many things from so many different people. It's just, I feel like it is something that like could actually, like there's more and more smoke around it, which is kind of like, I'm sure scaring. Like I'm sure if this happened, if Harry Higgs and Joel Damon were taking off their shirt last year at the Phoenix Open, I genuinely wonder if they would have posted it or not. Like just because I feel like they're trying to get more people to say like, oh, like, or like more people watching golf and in turn drives more money, stuff like that, trying to like change their narrative, I guess. The whole thing is, we need to do like a deep dive and just like try to find out as much as we can, have like an episode on that or something like that, just to talk about what we
record episode.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't really, we'll see, I guess. Every week there seems to be a new twist. So.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're bringing back the return of who's hot, who's not this week. And will the jinx come along with it?
Yeah, let's get into that.
The reverse jinx. It's a good jinx. So let's start off. Who's hot? We said it. We alluded to it earlier. Pat Cantlay. I mean, since the year started, he's absolutely crazy right now. I mean, he has a solo second, T4, solo ninth, solo fourth to start the season. And he's on the board. He's borderline going to pass Jon Rahm to become the world number 1. So it's just, you can't stop him right now. I mean, I saw on the last day he was like plus 600 to win to start the day, and it was like, that seems pretty good odds for somebody who's just an absolute killer down the stretch. And I mean, he's been in so many playoffs, like the one at the BMW, the one at the Memorial last year against Colin Morikawa. I thought he was going to get it done against Scottie, but I guess not. But again, he's so hot to start the season. Yeah,
I mean, it's just crazy to think he kind of has started where he left off the end of last season, winning the FedEx Cup. So I'm like,
so good.
Like, I don't know when like Patrick Cantlay got like this good, because obviously he hadn't won for a while, like at some point last year, and then all of a sudden he's come in flaming hot, starting to win a ton.
I don't think he's the favorite to win the Masters, but I mean, I think John Rahm probably is, but he should be, dude. Like, he should be the favorite every week right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that, really. So, I mean, who is the favorite to win the Masters? Rahm. Cantlay at 1,600. So there's
that's really good odds.
Six players ahead of him. So yeah,
but Rory should be minus 500 because he's gonna win. So
then again, like the people in front of him are all major winners, and like the one thing that Patrick Cantlay hasn't done it in is in a major. So
I know, but he's been good at his coming out party was almost at Augusta, that on Tiger Woods's win.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how this year progresses for Patrick Cantlay if he really solidifies himself, and eventually it's inevitable that he's going to be the world number one at some point.
I mean, Rahm does keep playing well, so there's that.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe not to the extent that Patrick Cantlay is, but he's still racking up those top 20s.
Yeah.
And
then another one, Matthew Fitzpatrick. I mean, he's a guy who, again, he has really good course history going into this week too, I think. And his last 4 events, both on the PGA and the DP World Tour, it's been T10, T6, T12, T2. So he's another guy who's flaming hot right now.
Yeah, kind of low key too. Like I didn't really think Matthew Fitzpatrick was on this type of run, but you look at the previous scores and all of a sudden you see top 10s in almost every event he's played. So
yeah.
I think he's another one that's in the field again this week. So interesting to see what he does at the Genesis. And then who's not? Tony Finau starts that off. He's been cut in his last 2. He had a T40 at the Amex. Not really what you expect from somebody of the caliber of Tony Finau.
Yeah, it's weird because you're so used to seeing him at the top of the leaderboard, maybe not winning all the time, but you're used to seeing him at the top of the leaderboard, and he just hasn't been there recently. But hopefully this is a reverse jinx, and he proves us wrong, because I'm pretty sure he did. He might have posted a top 5 or a top 10 here last year at Riviera.
Okay, and then the last who's not, Sam Burns, similar as Tony Finau. I wouldn't be too alarmed yet about him, but he's missed his last 2 cuts as well. You're kind of expecting this guy to take the next step this season. Like, he won a couple times last year, and we're like, okay, like he has all the tools to be a really good player, and he just really hasn't taken that step yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's another guy. I mean, he was the 54-hole leader last year at the Genesis, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
we're set up to reverse jinx both of them. So we'll see. But you're right. I mean, like, both of them are not hot right now. All right, let's get into skins. But first, a little word from Roback.
So you probably noticed us wearing some new Roback merch over the past few episodes. We're partnering with Roback, and we couldn't be more excited. So head to the link in our bio, add the Roback merch you want, and you'll get 15% off just by using the link. So enjoy and crave activity.
All right, we have the Genesis Invitational this week. This is Tiger's tournament at Riviera Country Club. The course preview, I mean, Riviera Country Club, par 71, 73.22 yards. You got the POA greens. A couple interesting holes at Riviera. I mean, we start off with number 1, probably the easiest par 5 on tour. We also have that like number 10, which is like a mini drivable par 4, which is always fun. And like, you know, we have 2 of the shortest par 5s on tour. So, you know, par 5s gained, definitely want to take advantage of those holes. Kind of similar to last week with a couple of the shorter par 5s. You want to take advantage of those holes. I mean, 7 par 4s over 450. So long iron play is going to be important. And I mean, Riviera has shown to be a pretty good golf course for the lefties in the past. I mean, Bubba's won this tournament a couple times. I would say important stats: strokes gained, ball striking, driving distance gained, par 4s gained 450 to 500, and strokes gained around the green. Short game will play a factor this week. People miss a lot of greens. You know, definitely pay attention to the short game.
All right. So I have honors. I was plus 2.02 units last week, so 7.25 on the year.
You have 7.26 on the year.
Okay.
Short time.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have the opposite luck of Trevor. You had those two top 40 bets. I think they finished T38 together. So both.
I mean, yeah, the Corey Connors one would have been a bad beat. He did really poorly on Sunday. But anyway, I got a big card this week. Pretty big card. I'm just going to kind of rattle through the winners. I got Rory, Victor, Morikawa, and Cameron Smith all outright. 0.25 units on all of them to win. It's 20-1 on Rory, 24-1 on Victor Hovland, 18-1 on Morikawa, which I feel like anytime it creeps up there towards 20-1 for Collin Morikawa, you kind of have to take it. And then I got Cameron Smith, 22-1. So all those are just a quarter unit. So still pretty good payouts on those. And then, like you said, lefties do well here. Robert McIntyre, top 40, plus 165, 0.5 units on that to win 0.83. Rory, top 20, plus 105, 1 unit. Morikawa, top 20, plus 100, 0.5 units on that. Adam Scott, top 30. He's really good here. He's sneaky good here. He's top, and in top 30 is plus 115, plus money for top 30. For someone that
he won in 2020.
Exactly. So 1 unit on that. And then final one, I have Cameron Tringali, top 40. I think he's sneaky this week. I think he could actually win. One of those weird, out of the blue things. Top 40, 1 unit. That's plus 100 as well.
The stat that always follows Cameron Tringali around: most money made without a win on tour.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not picking when I'm doing top 40 plus 1. It's even money. I think he has good finishes. I mean, I think last one's what, 2?
Yeah,
3 maybe. I think 3. But anyway, that's my card. It's a big card, but I think it's a good card.
I like it. No, I like that card a lot. So I actually finished second in the group this week. Minus 2.4 units. Got the Abe Answer won basically his matchup on Friday. Xander obviously did not win. Berger did not finish in the top 10, and Cage choked away his 8-shot advantage over Lucas Glover in that 3-ball. I'll start out. I also have Morikawa to win plus 1,800 for the exact reasons you said, Pat. In that 1,800 range, that's too good to pass up. 0.5 units to win 9 units. I have Jason Kokrak to win plus 7,000, 0.25 to win 17.75 units. And then Abe Answer to win plus 8,000, 0.25 to win 20 units. All three of those guys, great iron players, great ball strikers, great all-around games. John Rahm, top 10, minus 115, 2 units to win 1.74. He just doesn't finish outside the top 10. It's unbelievable how consistently great he's been, along with Cantlay. Those two have been unbelievable. He's finished in the top 5, top 10 here before as well. Then I have Sam Burns, top 20, plus 140, 1 unit to win 1.4. He finished third last year after leading for the first 3 days, something like that. I think he's going to have a bounce back week and maybe have the pin high reverse jinx of the who's hot, who's not. That I actually was loving seeing that after I inserted my picks. Then I have Jason Kokrak, top 20, plus 230, 1 unit to win 2.3. Again, great ball striker, has some good finishes here around the top 20. And he could be a sneaky good play to even finish top 10 as well.
Like it. So we're all kind of on the same page here of Collin Morikawa. I also have him to win half a unit to win 10. Now it is a risk because I looked at the advanced stats for last year. Minus 8 strokes putting last year at this golf course, and this is a tough golf course for putting. A lot of short putts are missed at this golf course, and he lost 8 strokes putting last year. I think he was number 2 in strokes gained.
I saw that. No, I think it's kind of a good thing.
I guess you can't do much worse than that, I guess. So that is a risk, but when you see the odds creep down for him, I guess they have changed since I last looked, maybe. But yeah, if you see the odds get there, you kind of have to take him. He's that good. I actually am gonna piggyback off of last week. I have the Gala finishing top 40 plus 120. I have two units to win 2.4. I actually just really like him this week, at least to finish in the
I like
top
that.
40.
Putting good
He's
too.
43 here as an amateur. He's coming off his best finish as a pro. And he had a really good putting week last week, and you got to, putt the ball pretty well. I also kind of liked what I saw from him scrambling last week. If he doesn't hit it in the fairway, still like his chances to make pars and maybe some birdies. And also, this is kind of like his hometown tourney, kind of like Max Homa last year, winning in his hometown tourney here. The Gala is not far away from here, so similar type of thing, hometown tourney. I think top 40 should be okay for him. I just kind of like the value there, plus 120 coming off of his best week. And then I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay, top 5 plus 230. I mean, we mentioned it before. I have 0.75 to win 1.72 units on that. He's been top 5 in 3 out of his 4 starts, and the other finish was a solo 9th. And it just kind of makes sense. He could win or compete at this tournament as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he won. Figured top 5 would be pretty good value for that. And then I'm going to do a little Thomas Peters double. So I have Thomas Peters outright plus 7,000.25 to win 17.5 units, and Thomas Peters top 20 plus 230.5 to win 1.15. I mean, listen, this guy's won twice in his last 4 starts, albeit on the year or the DP World Tour. I mean, maybe he'll take that form over here. Kind of a shot in the dark, but I think he will play pretty well, finish in the top 20. He has played well at this tournament before, way in the past, but still he has. And, kind of going to take a shot at the outright because, the guy's winning. So, and then my last pick, Francesco Molinari, top 40 plus 140, 1 unit to win 1.44. He's a member at Riviera, so knows the course pretty well. Feel like not a lot of people know that, so I'm going to take it.
Yeah, no, I was eyeing that one down too. Just ran out of units to give. So, but yeah, I'm seeing the board pretty clearly this week, I think.
Yeah, I'm never seeing the board clear now. I can't say that anymore. I said that 2 weeks ago, and I lost all my bets. So
yeah. Well, so the standings right now are me 7.26, Jeek down 0.5, right?
5.9, yeah.
You don't have to say mine.
Yeah, okay. Well, I won't say Trevor's as he goes in the dark.
Everybody's a winner away. A winner away from
indication.
You really are just a winner away from either me pulling ahead of the pack, Jeek probably at the very least evening it up, or Trevor getting right back to where it was.
I mean, if Thomas Peters wins, I have, more than 18 units coming my way. So
yeah, exactly. So
we just need one of those weeks.
It'll happen. I swear it will. It'll happen at least once.
Yeah, probably during one of the major weeks. I feel like we see the majors very, very well.
We've picked winners in every single one of them.
Yep.
So do we want to get in the clubhouse to end the week? What do we got? What do we got in the clubhouse? Anything?
Shout out BU Hockey for winning the Bean Pot last night.
Shout out BU Hockey.
Shout out the Rams.
Shout out the Rams. True.
For not covering the spread.
True.
Oh, yeah.
True.
R.I.P. Odell too.
R.I.P. Odell. Really, golf season now. The only competitor, especially with baseball being in a lockout, only competitor is college basketball.
March Madness. Yeah, like once the Masters rolls around, if there's no baseball and no college basketball, everyone will watch the Masters. Granted, a lot of people do, but everyone will be watching the Masters, which will be awesome.
Yeah,
cannot wait for that.
Maybe we'll bring a segment back next week for in the clubhouse if we have time.
Yeah, I'm sure by the time this episode even comes out, there will be more news.
What is next week
on the Saudi golf? On the Saudi Golf League. But at the very least, by next episode, there's probably going to be so much that comes out. So there'll be more to talk about next week with that. Until then, enjoy the Genesis